So the drivers now gearing up into formation. 14 minutes plus an additional lap of racing. So the drivers making their way through in towards the tram lines. Here we go. The last final of the DD2 season about to get under starters' orders into the tram lines. Revs rise, spray aplenty, the lights are out. We are off and racing. There's 3 carts coming together through turns 1 and 2. And one going off the right-hand side, but managing to keep the throttle pinned. The spray is absolutely ridiculous. The drivers are really going to have to watch their P's and Q's. Cross the T's, dot the I's. And look at the spray coming up. There is so much. And we've had a turnaround. That is Patrick Snolls Lochmellis round on the outskirts of turn number 6. Oh, and the biggest development is Mark Kimber he's actually pulled the cart into the pits. Mark Kimber has pulled it into the pits. So what this means is that no matter what Peter Bezel does, he will not win the championship. Well, that is a very big development right there. That is big time development there. Well, there you go. Here we are. Right, the amount of drivers squabbling for tarmac is ridiculous. I cannot believe that. Oh, and there's a coming together coming through turn 13. I think Rasmus van der Wel. Oh, and Lucas Thompson round! Lucas Thompson round on the start-finish straight. Thank goodness he held onto the brakes. I think he needs a change of underwear after that one too, but he manages to get back going again. So 12.5 minutes remain, and a biggest scare of his life. I think Lucas Thompson might have nearly had a heart attack after that one. I nearly did. So now, Martin van Looijen leading the way. Peter Bezel and Jakob Bezel rounding out the top 3. Stan Pex should be in 4th place, which he is. 5th is Rasmus Vendelbo. Ed Matthews has dropped a couple of positions, one of which is behind Philip Moitzi, and also Matthias Jette Jakobsen. He's got Maxim de Rix closing in on him. Well, Lucas Thompson is back under full throttle again. He was just going up the inside of Ragnar Virus. So Lucas Thompson dropped all the way down to nearly stone dead last. So 11 minutes and 48 seconds. The spray, the rooster tails from the Mojo W5 wet tyres. Especially you've got a couple of carts. I mean, the deluge with 5 carts going across the stripe. And then there's side by side. Lucas Thompson really getting his elbows out. He's alongside Denmark's Tino Egeskov going through into turns 1 and 2. I'm not sure if he's actually made the position on the Dane. But Ed Matthews and Maxime de Rix are definitely embroiled in a battle. This is a better showing for the Belgian. And then we've got the recovering Patrick Snolls Lochmellis. And Lochmellis bumps over the curb through turn 7. De Rix to the outside. Gets through. And Rasmus Vendelbo has really got things. The Danish firecrackers come to life, and so has his countryman from RS Competition, Matthias Jette Jakobsen. But look at the front bumper. Vendelbo will probably more than likely have a front fairing penalty post-race. That is dragging on the front. You can see how loose it is. As Moitzi goes wide, but he's going to get the cut back on both Danes. Slingshots up the inside of the pair of them goes the Austrian. 2 for the price of 1 through turn number 14. Inspired commitment from Philip Moitzi from Austria. And Stan Pex has now got himself up into 3rd position. So 1.5 seconds separate first from 2nd position. So Martin van Looijen has been epic in the wet, and he's showcasing that again as Vendelbo going toe-to-toe with, oh no, Jette Jakobsen round going into turn number 8. The 442 dumped down out of what would have been 5th position. So a little bit of a touch from Vendelbo there. That is one for the stewards I think will be more than looking at on that particular occasion. Lawrence Seifried at the moment has made his way up into the top 10, and Seifried started 18th. He's got in front of him the 4:03 of Patrick Snolls Lochmelis and the 4:99 of Belgium's Maxime Didix. As Ed Matthews runs wide, switches to the inside of the Latvian. Didix trying to get through, but he's got no room to facilitate that whatsoever. And now Didix up the inside of Lochmelis, and nearly trying to get through on Matthews through turn 3. Lochmelis goes in deep into the braking zone, and there is Seifried in the mix. 3 wide coming out of turn 4. Seifried has to hold back and wait for his opportunity. He bumps onto the curbs going through into turn number 5. And Didix, and oh dearie me, Matthews come together. And there is Leonardo Baccaglini, amongst others, with Luke. Is that Lucas Bernot from Canada? What a drive from the Canadian. Now, where did he start? 19th on the grid. Didix trying to get past Baccaglini, switch back through turn 10. And, right, brace yourselves, folks. Behind Lucas Bernot is Switzerland's Alessandro Glauser in the 4:07. Lucas Thompson switches to the outside to try and get a bit more purchase, and now he's going to try and slingshot past Ed Matthews, and he's sideways whilst trying to break into turn number 13, and Matthews runs a little bit wide coming through that corner. And now Glauser, still with DD2 Masters experience, now battling with the Canadian, and there is Lucas Thompson up the inside of the Swiss driver through turn 3. Glauser now trying to get through into the inside of turn number 4. Thinks better of it. So realistically, the way things are going, it has been a dogfight out there in this race. Lucas Thompson with the biggest, I think, 180 spin, and that was at high velocity as well. 5-second penalty going the way of the 4:47 for Rasmus Vendelbo. And also, there's more penalties coming in. 4:13 gets the 5-second time penalty. Hannes Border from Germany from Nies Racing. But Martin van Leeuwen from the Netherlands leading the way ahead of Peter Bezel. And that is Niklas Gaines, I just saw running a little bit slowly down the start-finish straight. Gaines had got himself up into 22nd position, but might have dropped down a couple of positions. Gaines actually started in 32nd, and stone dead last. And Lucas Bernot's off the track as well. The Canadian has decided to take a trip into the dirt. Or was he battling away with Lucas Thompson? And also, he's got Alessandro Glauser just up ahead. So, DD2, by my reckoning, have had the most amount of penalties for front fairing so far. As there is Ed Matthews battling away with Lucas Bernot. Bernot, steam kicks up from the back end of the carts, especially by the red-hot exhaust. And there is the 4:32 of Sweden's Charlie Anderson, who's under the same awning as the Canadian. But on the move, Lochmelis has started pushing forward, and he has closed, and he's just put in the fastest lap. He was a second quicker than Austria's Philip Moitzi in the 4:49. This is the battle for 4th position on the road. So Lochmelis trying to find his way past. So Vendelbo has already got a 5-second time penalty. He might be incurring 2. That front fairing, which is very much loose and dragging on the ground. That was on the first final. Right, another penalty coming through. They are being handed out at the moment. 4:58 has just got a 5-second time penalty, and that is Ed Matthews from Great Britain for Dan Holland Racing. And that was a cheeky point forward, courtesy of Patrick Snolls Lochmelis to Philip Moitzi, saying, come on, stop fighting. Let's go after those in front. Because there's going to be a bit of a gap between them and Stan Pex, and that gap is nearly 7.7 seconds. They've still got 5 minutes. It's not without the realms of possibility, but with someone as experienced as Stan Pex, you can't pull the wool over the Dutchman's eyes. I guarantee you that much. 4 3/4 minutes still remain on the timer. So a considerable amount of penalties being handed out. And that just goes to show how quickly things can change. You could think, oh, I might be in the running. So 4 minutes and 11 seconds still to go. And there's a bit of an off-track moment there for Maxim Dirix through turn 12. That allowed Leonardo Baccaglini to get through. And there is Alessandro Glauser in the 407 from Switzerland, not too far behind him. And the Swiss driver is in the tow. Across the line, that is Lucas Pernot, who still is in the top 12, ahead of teammate Charlie Anderson. Edward Matthews has got past Hannes Border, but the Brit could find himself well outside of the top 20 come the end of this race. But of course, there may be other penalties that may be issued, especially when they do check the front fairings post-race. Just under 3.5 minutes remaining, and that is Lawrence Seyfried versus his teammate at Dams Racing. That is Rasmus Vendelbo, and Seyfried gets through. That is a change for 6th position on the road. Vendelbo towards the inside, Seyfried around the outside, gets the traction, gets the hold shot and puts the hammer down and pulls away from the Dane. But Martin van Leeuwen from the Netherlands has pulled away and is clear. Peter Bezel in 2nd position, just under 1.6 seconds adrift as this rain is just not stopping. It's unabated. It really, really is. It's been an absolute torrential downpour. I know, especially our marshalling crew out there will be very, very happy when they get a chance to dry off, warm the bones up again, warm the muscles up again. 2.25 minutes. Van Leeuwen still leading way. Patrick Snolls-Lockmellis in the meantime is the driver in 4th position that has set the overall fastest lap of the race. And Jakob Bezel we lost on lap number 3. So Jakob Bezel will score no points in this race. With a minute and 3/4 still to go. Lucas Thompson has got past Rasmus Vendelbo, so the Dane could be very much in danger of being outside of the top 10 if Leonardo Baccaglini, Lucas Pernot and Alessandro Glauser, maybe even it could be towards the bottom of the top 15. So after what was a difficult qualifying for the Dane, so a minute and 1/4 to go. Van Leeuwen still leading the way. Baccaglini battling away over what's going to be 10th position for Canada's Lucas Pernot. Alessandro Glauser ahead of Charlie Anderson from Sweden now. So the Swiss driver, as Hannes Border has called time on the race on lap number 10. So the 413 from Nice Racing running on the Maranello chassis. Has decided, right, that's it, I've had enough. I'm going to go to the pits. 35 seconds on the clock remaining. Van Leeuwen still pushing on. There he is, heading through into turn number 7. The timer is counting down. The next time around, we are going to see the last lap board brandished for the final time. for DD2 in the 2022 season. But it's Martin van Leuven from the Netherlands who comes out of the final corner. He is going to win. And with Peter Bezel taking second, that effectively means that your provisional 2022 champion in DD2, he was last year's senior Rotax Grand Finals champion. It goes to the 4.71 of Mark Kimber, who opted not to take the start. Stan Pex rounds out the top three with Patrick Snolls, Locke Mellis, Philip Moitzi, Lucas Thompson, Lawrence Seifried, Rasmus Vendelbo, Maxim Drix and Leonardo Baccaglini completing the top 10 positions on the finishing order. The points finishers rounding out the top 15 are Lucas Bernot from Canada, Switzerland's Alessandro Grauser, followed by Sweden's Charlie Anderson, Florian Breitenbach and Manuel Tencher, both representing Germany and Austria respectively, complete the provisional points scoring positions. Ed Matthews, 16th, ahead of Matis Malinovskis, Niklas Krenz, Karl Borgard, Ragnar Veres, Tino Egeskov, Ville Viljainen. So the drivers now making their way. So that is effectively going to be the case, that the checker flag has fallen. So Van Leuven takes the checkered 1.728 seconds. Well, would you believe it? Lucas Thompson, what a drive from him, having the biggest moment known to driver on the start-finish straight earlier on. Lucas Thompson takes 5th place, managing to get past Philip Moitzi in the end. Lawrence Seifried, Rasmus Vendelbo, Maxim Drix. Lucas Bernot takes 10th, ahead of Alessandro Glauser, Leonardo Baccaglini, Charlie Anderson, Florian Breitenbach and Manuel Tencher. They do round out the top 15 positions. 29 drivers ended up finishing that race as we wait for Finn Stiak, elder brother of Janne, who will look to conclude his RMC Germany Championship hopes at the final round at Karting Genk. We'll move on to Porsche Carrera Cup Deutschland next year. Hannes Border, Jakob Bezel and Mark Kimber, unfortunately not making it to the end, with Kimber taking to the grid, but opting not to race.